Yo guys, welcome to the first MDco podcast. In my time at barbering, I have met the most incredible people and have had the privilege to have the most intimate conversations with them. We would like to share with you their stories and life experiences through a real life conversation as they sit in the chair. In this episode, we speak with John Mcaleer. We dive deep into his experiences working a six-figure job and how that did not make him happy. Also, an interesting perspective on how he felt when his daughter was born. Zero?
Yeah.
And two on top as well?
Yeah, I've just been buzzing my whole head at two, so I figured two, and then get the zero in the middle.
Sweet. Did you want to do any beard stuff as well, or
just run a two over it?
Run a two and then we'll just tighten up those?
Yeah, and then just do the edges and stuff. That's no good.
So we've got John here.
So, mate.
Tell us a little bit about yourself now.
Name's John. Spent the last 5 years or so kind of traveling around in a band, which is cool. Traveling, kind of played a lot of different countries doing that, which is pretty sweet. I don't know, along the way, I was a tradesman for a while, and I became a personal trainer, group fit instructor, and then made my way somehow, ended up now I just teach yoga, I'm going to teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I just hang out, and that's kind of it. Hang out with my daughter, hang out with my girlfriend, and I don't really do a lot now, I just chill out now, man.
Live life, eh?
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of like semi-retirement, I guess.
Semi-retirement?
Yeah. Because, I used to work sometimes 80 plus hours a week, you know?
Shit, man.
Which is, you make a lot of money, but...
So how long did you do that for?
I started trade when I was 15. So from when I was 15 until I was 23, I was working in power lines, working on power lines. And I didn't like school, kinesthetic learner. School doesn't really apply to you if you learn in any other way than reading and writing. So I got out of there kind of as quick as I could, and then got the trade, started doing that, kept doing it. I got my full trade when I was 19, turning 20, and then from then on, just kind of working, as much as I could, all the overtime I could. Bought a place. Well, the bank bought most of the place, you know what I mean? But paying a mortgage and that, and then my daughter was born, not long after that. I was probably 23 when my daughter was born.
Oh, shit, man.
Yeah,
So what made you go from being a tradesman to doing jiu-jitsu and stretching out and doing yoga?
I got offered a voluntary redundancy, so I never really liked the job. I just kind of thought, you're meant to have a job, you're meant to get a mortgage, you're meant to, get married, have a kid. So I did all of that, and it just, it's not. I don't think I'll be the first person to say that after doing all those things that they don't bring you any joy. There's some people that love that shit. You know what I mean? I got some friends even that they're just all about that. That's what they want to do. They want to, just be that kind of 1960s man and do some providing and just
Hey, I'm a little bit like that, eh?
Yeah.
I love that kind of that family. Nothing wrong with family and stuff like that, but that marriage life, you come home to the wife and stuff like that.
And that's cool. And there's some people that's just their whole jam, and it was really. I don't think there's anything. I think there's a big difference. I think there's a big difference in having a partner that you share your life with and that kind of thing, and just kind of becoming a means of production. You're a kind of just a working machine that brings stuff home, and then you go out and get more stuff and bring it home. And I did that by default. That wasn't anyone else's fault. It wasn't I was forced into that. I just that was my mentality all the time, was you got to get as far in front as you can. So when all my friends were traveling and doing stuff, I was at home just hitting it. And financially I got a long way out in front, but it got to a place where I was just pretty, like, kind of just like a shell of a person, you know what I mean? Like, you became very jaded about everything, nothing really had a point, like, especially when you're just, like, building power lines, and then, like, the council says they don't like the way the power lines look, so go pull it all down and build it across the other side of the street. You know what I mean? Like, you have no purpose, and I think that if you take purpose away from a human, you destroy them.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think that purpose is a career. Like, I think that's one thing that people kind of get stuck on. It's like, oh, well, if everybody didn't have jobs, like, people would just, what would they do? Like, people wouldn't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's bullshit. Like, I think that you just need purpose.
Yeah.
If your purpose is your career, then you're good. But if your purpose is fucking, I don't know, making music or painting or, cutting hair, and you're sitting at a desk crunching numbers, or you're, like, laying down bricks and whatever, like, that's...
Unless your purpose is
that's the thing. Like, and there's some people that they love, they get to the end of the day and they're like, look at this fucking, look at this big brick house that I made.
Yeah.
And they love it. Sick. Then that's, like, you're meant to be laying bricks. But I think there's a large chunk of people who their purpose is not the thing that they're doing, and I think that very slowly kind of just eats away at your, like, I don't know,
soul.
Like whether it's a soul or a spirit or whatever that is, like, it eats away at that thing that makes you human. It eventually just saps away until it's gone, and that's what happened with me, I guess. Like, I became someone who just wasn't very pleasant to be around, and then life just kind of, it imploded, like, I was in a relationship and that ended, and that was like a big...
How did that kind of affect your life at that time?
Oh, that was a big blow, man. Like, that's not... When you're not ready for it and stuff, like...
Was this at a point where, like, were you still working the power lines though?
I'd taken a redundancy a year or two before that.
Okay, yeah.
But, I went, cool, I'm not going to work, like, these huge weeks. So I took the redundancy, I spent a year off, and then I went and I was like, yeah, I'm going to become PT. Like, I've been training heaps, and I had a bunch of people asking me, like, how'd you lose weight? How'd you get fit? How'd you all this stuff? And I was kind of just, I guess, bro-sciencing it, like, just telling them how I just figured it out. And then I thought to myself, maybe I should actually go and learn, like, actually all the theory behind this instead of just telling people, like, So I went and did that. Then, so I took about a year off, not working and just studying part-time and just kind of chilling. And then I got a job as a personal trainer and just bounced straight back into 40 plus hours a week. And, like, it's like my default setting. Like, my brain just goes straight into workhorse kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just forgets about everything else. And, I've got a task, like, cool. Like, just zone out. And then a year into that, and then I kind of woke up and was just like, I just am back at the same place I was in, except personal training, you make about a third of what you make as a tradesman. So I was like, I'm doing the same thing again for a fraction of the money. And then, so yeah, I went, when all that happened, I kind of moved. I moved to, like, locally, like, where my daughter lives now after that. I didn't want to be, like, a weekend dad, so moved up here now to Central Coast, like, where we are, and kind of came here kicking and screaming. Like, I didn't want to be here. I never really, and it wasn't a big fan of the coast.
Were you from Sydney, hey?
From Sydney, yeah. It's just, like, it's busy. There's stuff going on. Like, I didn't really vibe the coast that much. But then I got here, man, and, like, I met, like, had time with my daughter. I got a job locally at the gym that was really, like, with a managers who were, like, really supportive, really cool. Then got, like, I once I got a place here, so I lived with one of my, like, really, like, one of my, oldest friends that I got. One of the dudes I played music with for, like, the last decade. We got a place together. I used to train down in Hornsby, like, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Then I moved up here to the gym, like, Jiu-Jitsu gym on the coast. And then everything just kind of started falling in from there. Like, my manager was, hey, I think it'd be cool if you taught yoga. And I was like, I didn't do yoga, I just did martial arts. And I think that I was like I don't know, I always thought that, like, weights was kind of lame. like, or just being a meathead was lame, and I was already like, I was vegan, and I was, you know, and I already, he was like, you know, you kind of got this vibe that could be, you could be a yogi, like, so I was like, oh, cool, I'll give it a go. So then I went and I did like my course, and then I came back and just jumped straight into like just full balls deep straight away, like, you know, 30 to 50 people in a class just teaching yoga. So yeah, I did that, and then I started teaching, and then like, you know, people kept coming to classes got bigger, people kept talking about the classes, I got put on more classes, and then Broga started, like men's only yoga, kind of, when that started, it was kind of the I don't know, I mean, I was the bro, delivering the Broga, so like,
and it was pretty bro-delicious.
There was a lot of bros going in there, so that was cool, and then kept doing that, and then I was doing that, and I was kind of, I had a lot of downtime, so I got another job, and I was delivering the mail on the side just to get some extra money on the days I didn't have my daughter, and then, you know, then I end up working heaps again, and I was like, fuck, pull the pin on this, I gotta stop.
Just get out of this, yeah.
Just all of a sudden, I was like teaching yoga till 8 o'clock at night, and then at 4 o'clock in the morning, getting up to go to the mail shed to deliver mail all day. To then, just all I was doing again was work, train, sleep, and I was like, geez, I don't want to go through all this again. So around that time, my jiu-jitsu gym was like, he needed another coach. He opened a second academy, second gym, you know, and he needed a coach. So I was like, I was just having a conversation with him. We were just shooting a shit after training one time, and I was like, oh man, I wish I could teach jiu-jitsu. Like, I only got a blue belt, so that's like, you know, the guy who owns the school, he's been doing jiu-jitsu for 17 years. I've been training for almost 2. At the time, I'd been training for like a year and a half. So I was like, you know, as much as I am qualified to teach fitness classes, actually teaching this thing of jiu-jitsu, I was like, I didn't feel confident to do that. And he was like, well, why couldn't you do that? I was like, well, I don't know, I just figured I'd have to be doing jiu-jitsu for like a long time, you know? And he was like, well, you don't need someone to teach kids, I need someone to teach beginners, you can do that. And I was like, well, yeah, I can do that. He's like, you understand gyms, like calls, sales, that kind of stuff as well? And yeah, I've been doing that for ages. He was like, cool.
I remember you said once that like your ultimate goal, like one of your goals was to put a strap on your daughter's
yeah, bro.
belt.
Yeah, bro.
And you like, I saw a photo of it and I was just like, I remember us talking about it. You were like, oh, it's going to take me like 10 years, man. I just want
to do that. My like life goal would be to like give my daughter a black belt. You know what I mean? If she keeps training from now through to the black belt, like it's weird. Like in jiu-jitsu, if you're to give someone just like promoting belts, you've kind of just got to be the belt like ahead of them. But to give someone a black belt, you've got to be like you got to have 2 stripes on your black belt, which take about 3 years each stripe. So you need to get a black belt, it'll take you anywhere between like 7 and 10 years. Then you need to have been a black belt for at least another 6 years. On top of that, then you can actually award a black belt to someone else. So with that, it was like, well, my daughter going through the whole kids belt system and everything, and by the time she's old enough, like she would be about 21, 22. It's kind of like if you start jiu-jitsu when you're like 3, like you can get a belt about that age. So for me, that would mean she's 4 now, you know what I mean? Like, adding up all those years, about the time, that would be about that same amount of time that it would take me to get there, so that would be cool. But yeah, and like, immediate goal is just like, I want to be my daughter's coach, so I am her coach, that's cool. I mean, she calls me Coach Daddy.
Coach Daddy,
Coach Daddy, yeah.
That's sick, that's sick.
If I get my own parking spot, I won't say Coach Daddy, that'd be cool. But, yeah, so like, I do that, I coach that, and then do the yoga, and just, you know, me and I met my girlfriend when I moved up here, and that was cool, and that's you know, fuck, a year and a bit ago now, so life here, like, as much of it was like a full shit show how I ended up here, it's turned out to be like the best thing that ever happened to me, was like being here, you know?
Just doing it, yeah.
And I think, like, I don't know, earning money, and I've worked at jobs where I earn over $100,000 a year, and now I earn $30,000 a year. You know what I mean? Like, I just earn like like, I don't know if is that minimum wage, or is that just like, I know that's just like,
I think so.
If you just like work retail and shit, you earn $30,000. Like, that's all I earn. Like, And I'm just curious. And I spend less than I ever spent. I've got more disposable income than I had when I earned.
Like when you
three or four times as much money. I have more disposable income now.
Do you feel like you're just like more minimalist though? Like
100%.
You don't even worry.
I have like 2 shelves worth of stuff. Like I don't have all of my things would probably fit in like 2 duffel bags. Like not including my bed or whatever. Like my actual belongings. Like I have put almost zero, pretty much zero value in stuff. Like that doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't. It's cool if it does to other people. To me, I have never really got. I kind of realized it wasn't. You know, I had like this stupid like spaceship looking van, and then I had like a GSXR 1000, and I had like expensive road bikes and just like shit everywhere, like all the time. And then you know what I mean. You earn more, you spend more. Just.
This is how it is.
That's how it is. You earn more, you spend more. You don't get like I had a client who was like just a fucking millionaire, and I was like, dude, what's it like being a millionaire? You know, straight up. He was like, you know, you just spend more. Like that's what he said. He was just like, well, you know, you get a bigger house, then you need a housekeeper. You get a bigger pool, then you gotta hire someone to clean a pool. You know, you buy a bunch of fancy cars, and you gotta like upkeep all their fancy cars. Like it doesn't really get to a point where it stops. Like it. So I think whether you earn 30 or whether you earn 130 or whether you earn 330, like it's just earn more, spend more. Like it.
Yeah.
And so for me, now like I think it's this definitely the best my life's ever been. You know, like good relationships with people, not just my partner, but with friends and work people and stuff like that, and like just a lot of positive people being around. You know, like the only people that I still am friends with is people like you, like people who are like a positive influence. Like if someone's like got stinky vibes or whatever, it's just like there's fucking 7 billion people. Like I don't have to
100%.
have anything to do with you.
And you'd be like that type of person. It's just like you are who you surround yourself with, kind of thing.
100%. Yeah, man. Like you if you surround yourself with a bunch of shitheads, like you're gonna be a shithead. Like that's or if there's a whole bunch of people who's like, I don't know, their vibration or whatever is like super low, like really negative about everything, and I'm not like a super positive person, but I'm also not super negative. I'm just kind of like
in the middle, man.
I don't know. I call it being realistic. Some people would say it's being jaded, but just like I'm like human nature. You know what I mean? Like the way that most people are, and like just accepting that that's how a lot of people are, and so I guess I don't know. I guess I don't really get disappointed. Like if a human being acts selfishly, it's like, well, that's like human beings do that. That's not like a surprise to me. Like that's or you know, people are acting in their best interest. It's like, well, that's what we're doing since we were cavemen. Like it's not. I don't think it's good, but I'm also not surprised when it happens. You know what I mean? Like it's just that's the world. Like these things are happening. They're happening everywhere. Like people are out for themselves. People trying to push their cause, push their agenda. My team's the best team. Like,
yeah,
you know, I don't know. Like, we got this real tribal team mentality. Like, everyone's just trying to get after themselves, I guess. And I don't think that means that you should be like that yourself, but I think that if you want to keep being like shocked every time that happens again, like it's kind of like what's the surprise? Like we knew this. So
that's exactly right. Yeah. Outside, you know how like people read books to get better and stuff like that. Like he's saying, like, you know, fuck the books, fuck that. You know, read inside who you are, and then you'll see the real truth. You know what I mean?
100%. I think that's the cool thing about meditation, and that's something that maybe meditation. I like to call it mindfulness, not to kind of. I know that people like to do that with yoga. Like, oh, it's hatha yoga, it's, you know, ashtanga, it's vinyasa. They want to put everything in a little. Same thing. We just want to make our little team, and then we can go like, our yoga's the best yoga. It's like, I don't think that, but when I think actually like, you know, in a mindfulness practice where you sit down, make space, focus your mind, and then just get inside your own head and start to get to know what's inside your own head.
Yeah.
And when you get to that point where you can see thoughts rolling in, or you understand that like, oh, like when I'm presented with certain situations or stimuli, I react this way. Now that I know that, I can start to the better that I know the inside of my head, the better that I can start to deal with situations in everyday life. So if I know that, like, when someone beeps at me in traffic, that I get really angry really fast, then, okay, someone just beeped. Let's just take a second. I know that I react that way. Is it rational? Like, is that a rational way to behave? Like,
Yeah.
someone fucked up in traffic. It's like, well, have I ever fucked up? You know, yes, daily. Like, I make mistakes, human error, judgment, make the wrong calls. Have I forgotten to use an indicator? Yes, cool, alright. So, like, is it really rational for me to expect that this person would drive their car perfectly? And, you know, like, really, I think that it's more of a miracle if you get to wherever you're going and no one fucked up in their cars. You know what I mean? This is a crazy thing that we
miracle.
do.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
I think that by the time that our kids are grown up, we're going to be like, why the fuck do we ever drive cars? Everyone's just driving around like 1-2 ton death machines. Like, and we're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing. But what I was saying was, like, once you start to understand your own head and you start to look at things rationally and you start to actually, like, go, oh, okay, this is how I react when that happens. Now I can just chill out. So maybe I don't honk my horn and get out the window and flip this dude off and threaten to fight someone and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe I just go, oh, yeah, cool, that person, like, accidentally cut me off. Like, I could let him know, and just be like, hey, I didn't appreciate that. Maybe I toot the horn so you get back in your lane. It's cool. No worries. You fucked up. I'm probably going to fuck up later. Let's just keep going. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? Whereas instead of like, yeah, man, like, you cut me off. Let's fight.
Yeah. What's going to result? It's going to make things worse.
Like, it's crazy. There's once you know, understand inside your own head, and I think that, like, off topic, but even just, like, martial arts, like, understanding what your body is capable of. Same as knowing inside your own head. Understanding what your body is capable of straight away puts me into a headspace where if there's any kind of, like, I am someone who has spent very close to the last 2 years of my life on a daily basis practicing murder. That's what jiu-jitsu is. Like, you strangle someone, and then when they're at the point where their brain's about to shut off, they tap, you laugh, and you give them a high five and a fist bump and start again. Like, that's what you do non-stop. And I think that it's kind of the cool thing about jiu-jitsu that sets it apart from other martial arts, but you can actually go full tilt, you know? Like, if you want to do Muay Thai, like, you guys can't just, like, knee each other in the brain every single day. Like, you're both going to end up, like, with brain trauma, you know, in a very short space of time. So you're on the pads, you're light, and then when it's actually time to fight, you fight. But in understanding that and knowing that, it would take, like, something, like, just like huge to get me to actually fight. Like, I like to get into a physical altercation because I understand what my body's capable of, what their body's capable of, what this is going to look like if this actually became a thing. And then, you know, it's that thing when the fighter in the room is the quiet, calm one when shit actually gets real. And it's that thing of just, like, I know what that's going to look like. It's not going to be some, like, movie thing where the most angry person wins and I just go, like, like, you know, I was wronged, punch you one time and you fall down. Like it's, you swing, I swing, we hit the ground, both of us are getting banged up, dinged up, like, this, you know, goes on for a while. Fuck, maybe someone, like, accidentally trips, bangs their head, they're dead, now your life's fucked up, or fuck, maybe you win but you get beat to shit on the way. Like, I don't know. It's like a weird... I think that's one of the things about life that kind of... all the hard shit has been taken out of life. Like, you don't have a reason to need your next door neighbours. You don't have a reason to need to know what your body is capable of. You don't have a reason to need to know your mind. You don't have any of these things anymore. Like, life is easy now. And I don't mean that in the sense of, like, you know, yeah, I get it. Like, you know, tough upbringing, that kind of thing. Like, I'm not saying that that's easy, but in the sense of, like, there's no imminent threat of the people over there are going to come and, like, commit genocide on you and your homies. Like, in that kind of sense, like, it's, I don't know, it kind of gives everyone the opportunity to be an asshole. Like, you're in this little steel box and you want to say horrible things at the person in their little steel box because there's no consequences. There's no consequences of anything anymore. You know, you trip down the stairs, you sue the person that owns the stairs. Like, or you You just yell and say and do whatever you want. You get on the internet, you just like fucking.
Why do you think that? Why do you think like?
Because I think that there's no imminent danger. There's no threat of violence. There's no repercussions for anyone's actions for anything. And I think that when you take that away, you have people behaving the way that people behave now. You know what I mean? Like, if you knew that if you yelled things at me in your car, that we were going to stop and we were going to have fucking, like, you know, it's going to be old school, like we're going to walk 10 paces and turn and shoot, or we're going to have a knife fight, or we're going to be throwing spears, or like, if you did something horrible, like a whole tribe of dudes going to come over the hill in the morning, we're going to have to fucking all-out war this thing. You're like, okay, I'm not going to yell, I'm going to have a little bit more of a, all right. You know, kind of the way that everyone hangs, like when there's that really big dude, you're like, all right, cool, he can sit wherever he wants, like that's fine. Like that's like on the smallest level what we still have, but yeah, there's no consequence. There's no, everything is someone else's fault. Everything is, you know, oh, I'm this way because these things happened, or I have this issues because of this, or, you know, I hurt myself and that's this person's liability, and it's all that kind of stuff. And I think some of it's definitely good. Like, I don't think you should be able to just screw people over and stuff, like, or just be a shitbag, but in the sense of like thinking that you can just yell things at people, or you can just say and do whatever you want and there's no repercussions, because I could call you all sorts of slurs all day, but the moment you hit me, you're like, now
I'm in trouble.
You're the aggressor. You know what I mean? So like, what's to stop me from calling you racial names, or talking about your Greek heritage, or calling your girl all sorts of names, or, you know, coming in here and stealing your stuff, or coming in here and take these cameras? What are you gonna do? You're gonna push me over, I'll fall over on your driveway, I'll sue you. Like, you know, like there's no, there was a dude, I just heard a news report today in the US, this guy, he like tried to rob some joint, but the gun was fake. And one of the customers in there just fucking freaked out, picked up something, stabbed this dude 17 times, right? Now, that was, I think we can agree that was probably a bit of overkill. But the dude who got stabbed, who was trying to rob the place with the fake gun, is suing the guy for his injuries. So this dude, Fred, thought there's a real gun, like just, you know, kill, and then probably fucking calmed down and went, oh Jesus, like what just happened? Like just went full, like,
yeah, for sure,
just
100%.
Went caveman brain, and then come out of it, and this dude's like, yeah, I'm suing this guy for my medical bills.
That's nuts, eh?
It's like, no, I don't want to live on that planet. Like, stop this thing spinning. I want to get off. Like, that's crazy. I'm kind of torn about it too, because, like, obviously, I mean, I don't want to go back to a time where it was we all cowboys and riding around horses and shit. I don't want to do that. Like, I like going to Woolies and getting some tofu. Like, I don't want to have to go and
for sure.
grow
Shoot. Yeah,
I don't want to do that. Like I'm not saying we should go back and do that. Fuck that. I want to go to jiu-jitsu and do other stuff. I just want to go have a hot shower, man. I don't want to. Like, I'm soft as fuck. But when...
Are we doing under here as well? You want to go under that?
Oh yeah, you want to clean it up? That's cool. Like, when you take out all these things, I think that the way to get back to that is to do hard stuff. Have your life, have modern life, but do hard stuff. You know, like, jiu-jitsu takes 10 years to get a black belt. A black belt means you understand. That's it. That's all people with the black belt look at. They don't look at a black belt to say you're now really good at this thing. That's another 10, 20 years down the track. Like, it's something that's really difficult. Yoga, it's really difficult. It's hard to get in there in the hot and the sweat and the everything. It's hard to, you know, to get a master's degree. It's hard to do all these other things. Like, people don't do hard stuff. You know, you go to the shop, eat the bullshit foods, you go home, watch mind-numbing TV, and you go about your life. It's just soft. Everything's soft. And I think that's what the Goggins is big on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just thinking, my favourite thing he says as well is get uncomfortable to get comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, get uncomfortable 100%. So you learn about yourself, learn what your limitations are.
See where your head goes, you know? If you got we got 140 kilo purple belt. That's bullshit. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, if you have, this guy who's been learning the art of killing for the gentle art of shutting down people's brains for the last 5-6 years of his life, and then he's, you got this thing that was developed for small people to be able to overcome a larger opponent with their skill.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden that's gone around the whole world, and you've got big ass fucking silverbacks who also know this stuff. So if I can be underneath that dude with all of his pressure, his weight, his everything, the chokes, the whatever, and at the end, and I leave training, now, person cutting in front of me in the line at Woolies isn't a big deal. It's like, well, that's not the worst thing that happened today. That's not the, you have perspective, you understand. It's like, well, I gotta, do this thing that's kind of uncomfortable. I can get through that, If I can get through that, I can get through that. Like, and doing hard stuff, getting discipline, getting all these things where, I don't know, like nowadays, like the coolest person's a person with the biggest muscles. That's like the most macho thing you can do is like lift heaps of weights. Like And I remember someone who works in a gym, I'm a personal trainer, I don't find weightlifting inspiring. Like, why are you lifting the weights? Are you like, whatever your passion is and your back's fucked up, so you need to strengthen it up and you need to get strong so you can get back after, so you can pick your kid up and play, so you can, go traveling and go hike a fucking mountain with your partner, or are you just picking up weights so that you got bigger muscles than the other dudes who got big muscles?
Or then go pick up chicks at,
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, but in saying that, if you just want to have big muscles, but you understand that doesn't, like, your ego is in check, have the biggest muscles that you want. But if you somehow think that having real big muscles makes you the man, you fucking idiot, really, aren't you? Like, you for what? For what purpose? Like, if everything went to shit tomorrow, power's gone, water's gone, everything gone, like, and you're back to it's just you being a human being, what are your muscles going to do? What's your big muscles going to do? Because I only need 2,000 calories, you need 6,000. So just to start with, just there, unless you're going to find that 6,000 calories somewhere, you're going to be small in like 3 months. You're not going to be able to buy all your supplements. Jab, jab. Sorry to everybody who thinks that's not going on. Everyone's natural, bro. Yeah, like, then it's gone. Then what? If we're all just back to being human beings, it doesn't count for anything. It doesn't. If you got the nicest car, if you work hard and you want to drive a comfortable car, cool. But if you think that you're having a really nice car is somehow, you're in a car club and that's your culture and that's your everything, like, that's fun and that's cool, and it's cool to hang out with like-minded people and do fun stuff and enjoy the fruits of your labor and stuff, that's awesome. But if you think that somehow makes you better than someone that doesn't have that thing, or if having big muscles makes you better than someone without small muscles, or if the worst thing is if you think that big muscles means that you're the alpha dog, like, I'll get you a 60-kilo girl who will strangle a 110-kilo power body.
Yeah.
Shit. You still got a neck. You still got a back that some little skilled person's going to climb on and shut your brain off. Like, that's going to happen. And it I don't know, I think there's just a lot of people can't check their ego. I had mine checked. You get divorced, you come home and the person that you thought was going to be home is gone and all their shit's gone, and you realize that, like, you didn't do your best and that's why they're gone. That's a big blow to your ego. You got to move, get a new job, you got to do this ego. You got to, start something new where you're not the most talented person. Ego. Went from doing triathlons where I was like, I was athletic. That translated. It meant I did well straight away. Now all of a sudden you do jiu-jitsu every single day. That 60-kilo little guy or girl who's just been slogging it out at this thing. Maybe they weren't very athletic, they weren't very skilled, they weren't very talented, but they showed up every single fucking day for like the last however many years, and they can fold your body up. They just have their way with you. Ego, check, non-stop checking your ego. And I think when your ego's not in check, like, shit gets wild. Like, you start to think that oh, maybe the world does revolve around me. Maybe I am the strongest guy in this bar. Maybe I can yell at this dude and start this fight. Maybe I can just have any girl here that I want. Maybe I can just, walk into this place and expect that I'm going to get the promotion. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. Like it's trendy to say you're humble, but I don't see many people being humble. You know what I mean? Like, stay humble. Here's a picture of my six-pack. Like, nah, that's not...
No, bro.
That's not humble. Like, that's not... You know what I mean? Like, I like to see, the dad who's in the teacup with his daughter. That's some humble shit. You know what I mean? Like, that... The dude who... I see it all the time. Kids come in and start jiu-jitsu. It's good for kids to learn martial arts. Their mum or dad goes, I'll do it. I'll get on the mats. 40 years old, go back to being the person who's doesn't know anything. That's hard. That's ego. That's to, see you starting your own business, going after the thing that you want and just getting after it. Like, that's a risky thing to do. You worked in a shop, there were steady customers, you had steady wage, it was safe, and then you had the thing that you want, and off you went. And obviously it takes a little bit of ego to say, like, I can do this, but to have so much ego that you don't work for it, that you don't hustle, that you don't grind, because you think, okay, it'll just be sweet. Like, you're really good at cutting hair. It would have been easy for you to go out of here and just open a place and just sit back and go, people come. But you didn't. You went after your own business as if you were someone who sucked at cutting hair. You know what I mean? Like, you did everything that you could to get as many people in, to chase. Like, go after it like you're the shittest person in the room. And that... Like at your craft, not as a human being, but you're I'm the least skilled person here. What do I got to do? And people aren't prepared to do that. Like, yeah, I got a job at a jiu-jitsu gym, but before I got that job, I made myself the best candidate for that job, even though I was the least skilled person for that job. Out of the people who were eligible for that job, I was the least skilled. So what I do, I went out, paid my own money to start the course to become a jiu-jitsu trainer. I showed up all the time. I'd do classes for free. I would just hang around. I would just, you know what I mean? And it was never like, hey man, like, please give me the job. It was just, I'm going to make myself the best candidate for this thing that I really want. I'm going to do every single thing that I could possibly do to get this thing. I wrote it on my wall. I wrote jiu-jitsu instructor. And then non-stop just went, make myself the most eligible jiu-jitsu instructor here.
That's it.
And if at the end of that I hadn't got the job, cool. But I got the job, and the same deal with doing anything. I think there's a lot of people kind of sit around and just think that stuff will work. Like, oh yeah, like, I want to lose 10 kilos. What are you doing about it? Oh, Oh, I was hoping to get the promotion. What are you doing about it? Oh, I've been here for a long time now. So? There's going to be some little fucking hungry as fuck Nick that's going to show up and get the promotion in his first year and you've been here for 10 and no one cares.
Yeah.
Because you don't hustle.
Creating a community where people are just like around dudes that are like-minded people, because a lot of people I feel like a lot of people are scared to be like, oh, I really want to go do this, but I'm scared what people are going to think. You know what I mean?
Man, everyone's...
You know what I mean?
It's a... People scared to just be like, let people know they don't have their shit together. You know what I mean? That's it. Like, to just say like, I'm a dude and I'm just kind of figuring it out, or I'm a dad and I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, I'll say that. I was a fucking terrible dad. Like, for the first 3 years of my daughter's life, I was just like, what do I do with it? You know what I mean? Like, and everyone tells you, like, you're gonna, you'll just connect, when they're born, you just connect. I was like, but there's this person that I never met, I don't know nothing about them, and they're just in my house. Like, I don't know this person, and they don't talk, and they just shit everywhere and spew, and I have no connection to it at all.
And we'll just pause it there for a minute.
I don't know, for guys, barber is one of the very few places that I feel like dudes are like very open. You know what I mean?
Very last places, you say?
No, it's one of the only places that I can think of where guys are like open and honest and like raw.
Yeah.
Is getting a haircut. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because you're close to someone or you're like they're touching you or what. But it's one of the only places that I can think of where a dude will like let his guard down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's 100%, man. Like I've met, like, even before you, just tonight, I've had a client come in and we just spoke life, man. We spoke about, like, he's going through a divorce now and I won't speak too much more about it just in case, whatever. But Yeah, it's so true, man. Some people would just open up, be like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" And you'd be like, like not very
Not
good.
good. Yeah.
Not good. Straight up. It's like, all right, let's talk it out, bro. Let's make it happen.
And I think that's a weird. I guess it's like a leftover of like, I don't know, bravado or stupid masculinity or whatever that is, but
Do you think it's a cultural thing as well?
I don't know what it is, man. I don't know where it stems from because, man, a lot of people want to just hate on being a dude at the moment, you know? There's a lot of dudes fucking up, dudes doing dumb things, and then that's kind of like ends up with people just thinking that like men are the problem, you know? And I don't think men are the problem. I think that there's like people that do bad things, but I don't think there's anything wrong with being a dude, you know? Like a lot of time being a dude's fun. Like how fun is just hanging out with boys? It's fucking sick. Like it's good.
Saturday
but
for the boys.
It's for, yeah, it's mad. But then at the same time, like I think that one of the reasons why there are a lot of dudes doing a lot of shit is because a lot of dudes got a lot of pent up stuff going on, you know? Like that's one reason. I mean, first of all, there's just shit people. They exist, right? It doesn't really matter their gender.
Yeah, it's exactly
They're
right.
just shit
100%.
people. But then beyond that, it's people, I don't know, people dealing with a lot of stuff, people bottling shit up, people, you know. Like, well, there's people dealing with things. There was no one I could talk to. Every dad that I looked at was just like, yeah, man, like, being a dad is the most meaningful thing I've ever done in my life. And I was like, dude, I'm sitting here 3 years later, still thinking being a dad is the biggest mistake I ever made in my life. You know what I mean? I'm still sitting here like, this still sucks. Like,
that's some real honest shit, man.
No one will say it. And then people look at you and be like, oh man, like, but if you went back again, you'd still do it, right? Because it's worth it. Like, and I was like, no, I would not have done this. Like, I wouldn't. And I can still say now, like, I have got to know my daughter. I love my daughter. All these things, right? Like, try to touch my daughter. I will do my very best to murder you. Like, that's all that being said. Like, I love her to death. She's an incredible, amazing person. But then if you had have asked me, like, would you do this again? I'd be like, no, like, I wasn't meant to, like, this, me as I am as a human, did not have what it takes to be a dad. And it was not a good decision for me to make. And maybe it was just the age that I was. Like, maybe I was too young. Maybe, like, me as 28-year-old me is a lot more equipped to be, like, selfless than 23-year-old me was. That's possible. But, I didn't feel anything. All I felt was, like, this person is standing in the way of me and the person that I used to like spending all my time with.
Yeah.
And that's a weird thing. Like if you're a real humble dude and you can just like be the third wheel, because that's what being a dad is. It's becoming the third wheel. Like, and it's not the lady's fault, you know, like when they give birth, like the chemical makeup of their brain changes to, you know, like hormonally, everything says that this baby is now the most important thing. And that's cool. Like, that's what it takes. Like, human babies suck. Like, you know, you see a giraffe and it just falls out the mama giraffe gets up and just walks off. You know what I mean? It's just like, fuck it, here we go, into the wind. Just, you know, up the guts, on the burst, let's go. Whereas, like, human babies are just like, yeah, if you, like, any time in the first 18 years of my existence, if you leave me on my own, I'll die. Like, and that's what it takes. It takes the full attention of the parent to, like, and usually that responsibility lands on the mother, like the way that our society is set up. I'm not saying I think that's right, but that's kind of most common way for things to end up.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing. Like, no, and I kept that to myself for a long time because there was no dudes just. And it wasn't until like, years later, people are like, oh, you know, you got this really good relationship with your daughter. Like, how did that happen? I'm like, I didn't. Like, the first, you know, getting to that point was going to suck. It sucked. And I think if someone had told me, like, hey, you're going to have a kid and this, just get really real. This is what it's going to be like. That kid's going to shit and piss and scream and take up all of your time and never be grateful. Do you know what I mean? The moment that you say no, that kid's just going to start screaming again. Like, that's very hard because in an adult relationship, if I was your friend, you know what I mean? and you acted the way that a baby acted, we wouldn't be friends no more. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
you're sucking all of the air out of our friendship. You know what I mean? And then, but I'm pretty sure it was 1 in 3. 1 in 3 dudes didn't experience attachment at birth. Well, that was some numbers that I would have very much liked to have known about in these, like, you go to, there's, like, classes that are available that we went to where it talks about birthing, it talks about after and what to expect and having a little infant and all that kind of stuff. No one said that shit. No one said a third of dudes weren't attaching to these kids. Everyone just kept saying, like, yeah, we're just... And I'm like, I don't feel anything. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm ready for this. I don't, And then, like, no, you just will. Instinct will kick in. You'll just know. And then you don't just know. And that's a weird thing. That's a big thing that dudes aren't talking about. Dudes aren't saying that, like, hey, like, being a dad or a husband or a partner or whatever, like... And I don't think it's like a woe is me, like, oh, you don't know the struggle of being a guy. I'm not saying that because, like, honestly, like, if you're a dude in the Western world, fuck, you're a dude anywhere on this planet, you got a lot easier than the other half of the planet, straight up. Like, it's definitely easier to be a dude than it is to be a woman.
Straight up, man. Straight up.
It's not right, but it's definitely easier. And so I wouldn't want to say, like, complaining about being a dad, but you didn't have to push, like, a fucking... You've seen someone give birth?
Yeah.
That shit's fucking incredible. Like, I seen it. I was there. I was down, like, I was down the end zone end of that thing, and just like, holy shit. Like, this is, like, everyone's debating God and all this kind of stuff, right? I legitimately watched a human being create another human being, then that human being out of their body, just straight up. It was like, holy shit. Like, and you hear dudes who are like, oh, I couldn't watch, like, maybe they're just, like, ruin, like, the place where I put my dick. Oh, no. Fuck you. You're an idiot. Like, that's if you get a chance to see that shit, you need to see that shit, because that's, like, it's just, like, whoa. The innovation, the competitive nature of humans feeds innovation, or innovation feeds that, or whatever.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming through, John.
Yeah, that was, like...
some legit shit.
That was just, like...
That was legit. I hope you
guys
enjoyed
it. A very wide range of the things that rattle inside.
So coming soon, probably Nikki and Johnny and Nikki will work on the name.
We'll figure the name.
Podcast, possibly. Just talking legit shit.
Yeah, we need to break down those individual things a little deeper. Yeah. Just touch on the surface.
But I hope you enjoyed In the Chair with John.
Yeah.
Check him out on Instagram. I don't know his tag, but...
Well, don't.
Because, life's all about Instagram.
It's pretty much. If I could get more followers, that's pretty much why I did this. So that would be cool. Yeah, don't. Just fucking... Don't even go on Instagram. Just delete it off your phone and go outside.
If you ever hear a band Vices, don't even listen to them.
Don't even listen to it. Just go make your own music and go outside.
That's it.
Yeah.
Peace!
That's cool.
Legit, bro.